Hi and welcome back. And in today's video, I think I want to touch upon um, something that's been playing on my mind a lot. And it's something that I didn't even know existed until TarotTube. I've seen it in other interests, like other niche interests, such as in the fragrance community, or people that are interested in fragrance, searching for that one signature scent, their soul scent. And I have that. I wouldn't say it's a soul scent, but it's a signature because it's one that I've worn almost my entire life. Since I sniffed perfume and thought, oh my God, this is amazing. All right. Is it the best perfume in the world? No. Is it, it's not even in production anymore. You know what I mean? And well, it is in a watered down, bastardized, who the hell knows what, derivative format. But what I'm trying to say is that it's nothing special. I always end up connecting my love of fragrance with my love of tarot. And I think because both of them are vehicles for my soul. Like, they're soul vehicles for me. They're vehicles for my spirituality. They connect me to spirit. So my perfume collection connects me to spirit. Where I have fragrances that fragrances that bring people back to me that are long gone. Fragrances that that crystallize the memory of a time and place in my life. Which I have yet to record, fragrances in nature. You know what I mean? I have certain fragrances that for me are representative of nature, whether it's petrichor or that loamy, earthy kind of scent. So, why am I telling you all this? Because only when I started watching TarotTube did I learn about the myth of the soul deck. And I'm going to explain to you why I feel that the whole soul deck bullshit is bullshit. It's a myth. There's no such thing. And if you're out there and you're watching this and you're just dying to type some hate in the comment section or send me some hate in email, have at her. Don't care. If you feel like you found your soul deck, right on. But I'm going to explain to you why it's a myth. By explaining to you why finding your soulmate, is a myth. We don't have just one soulmate. We have people, individuals that we will meet in our lives that are here for a reason, a season, a lifetime, yada, yada, yada. You've all read that article. Or have, heard the analogy, or, you know what I mean, the reference and all that stuff. But let's talk a little bit about why soulmate is a myth. And not that there's no such thing as soulmates, because there certainly are such a thing as soulmates. I'm with my soulmate. I am married to my soulmate. What I'm trying to say is that the myth about soulmates is that you find your soulmate and everything is perfect. Absolutely perfect. Your life is perfect. It's all smooth sailing from there. But no, that's ridiculous. Even if you are fortunate, blessed enough to find your soulmate, life is still real with its challenges and disappointments and shit luck and bills to pay, children to raise, mortgages to pay. Do you see what I'm getting at here? So that's the myth of the soulmate. Oh, they're going to be perfect. You're never going to argue. You're never going to disagree. You're never going to, you're never going to leave each other. Well, I know people that were soulmates that they did. Their relationship at a certain point was complete. Their path together was complete, and they parted ways. Let's talk about tarot decks. Let's talk about tarot decks. The myth of the soul deck, I think, is even worse than the myth of the soulmate. Because the myth of the soul deck drives people to buy hundreds of decks looking for the one. Not understanding what it is we're looking for at all. Because I don't even know how many decks have passed through my hands, people. I don't know. And before Tarot Tube, I used to be more discerning, and it's like I would look up, no, not for me, and just pass it on. But that's a whole other conversation. The myth of the soul deck is damaging because the myth is that there is one deck, and once you find this one deck, that's it. That's all you need. What's damaging about this myth is not that it's not true, because people will say this is my soul deck, and usually, if you're paying attention, when people say, "Oh, this is my soul deck," and I'm just showing you this one because this is representative of my first ever tarot deck. This is, oh my God, me and the Eight of Swords. This is my soul deck. Not my favorite deck, but it's my soul deck. This deck knows me, and I know it like the back of my hand. This deck has been with me, has walked my path, has been with me as I walk my path over the last 30-something years. So why? Why, pray tell, did I get sucked in to the bullshit myth of finding my soul deck when all I had to do was listen to people speak when they said, "Oh, this such and such is my soul deck." In the same breath, they said such and such, the same deck is the first deck they ever got. Now, I have heard from people have said to me, and I have heard that this was maybe their first deck and they didn't connect to it, and then it's like, some other deck comes along and that's the one they connected to. Fine. But what I'm trying to say is, like a relationship with a person, you can find your soulmate, but if you don't work at that relationship, if you each as individuals don't work on yourselves to be better people, you know what I'm saying? To self-actualize, to learn to live with someone else, in some cases. If you both don't grow as individuals, your relationship is doomed. Doesn't matter that you're soulmates. because the relationship still requires work, commitment, love, care, and all that stuff. Protecting and defending. Your soul deck is the deck that you commit to learning. It's the deck you commit to not just learning meanings, because that's a conversation for a whole other video, because I got to tell you that I got too much to talk about and I'm having a hard time staying focused. Let's stick with the soul deck myth. The soul deck myth is extremely damaging. It causes people to overspend. It causes people to fill their homes with a bunch of these tarot decks that aren't their soulmate or soul deck. It causes the anxiety and the angst, the anxiety, the low mood, the lethargy, fatigue, and then the ennui and boredom with tarot. Because then the soul deck myth is damaging, because it puts the focus off of tarot and onto this freaking inanimate object. Okay, maybe they're not inanimate, but it puts the focus away from tarot and divination. I'm going to speak from my point of view, people. All right? I am not a psychotherapist. I am a card reader. I'm a cartomancer. I divine. I'm a fortune teller. I'm a psychic. Basta. But the soul deck myth is bullshit. Just like in any other niche community and any other interest of a commodity or whatever, it's all about driving consumerism and driving people to buy. And whether you like it or not, myself included, whenever I come on here and I'm talking about a deck, I am influencing someone, whether I like it or not, to open up a second window, to fire up a second window on there. If they're on their laptop or something, or their desktop, they're firing up a second window in their browser and they're going onto Amazon and click, purchase. Just because I said, I love this deck. I've done it. I've done it where I'm watching a flip through in one window and then I'm opening up the other window. The flip through is not even done yet and I've already ordered it. Only to find out that I really should have waited to watch the whole flip through. But going back to the myth, it's damaging. And I don't know at what point I got sucked in by it. But I did. I must have. Because I don't understand. I'm still trying to understand how I went from not having a collection to having far too many decks. Like, I pulled decks off my shelf that had a layer of dust on them. That I thought were it. I thought they were. Oh my! When I got them, it turned into the chase. It turned into the thrill of the race, the thrill of the chase. Hunting down obscure, out of print, whatever. And then for me, the double whammy. If it's out of print and I get it at a great price, oh my God. Stop it, Grace. I'm out of control. This is my Thoth Greenie. I love it. It's traditional. It has all the traditional symbolism in it. And it's overtly, it has all, the traditional symbolism is very overt in the Thoth. I own 3 copies of the Thoth. Queenie, the US Games large one that I'm making a bag for to match the one I made for someone I love dearly. So. Are these my soul decks? Is the Thoth and the Rider-Waite, especially, this guy, the plaid back. I adore my Centennial. My Centennial has been on my path with me now for 2 years. 3 years. Scusi. This one traveled with me. This one traveled from the Canadian Pacific Northwest down to southern Florida. This one went to Montreal. This one went cross country through many, many states with me. Is it perfect? No, like a soulmate. Our relationship is. I know this one like the back of my hand. This is the deck I reach for when someone consults me for a reading, and I want to make sure that I give them a good reading. So, is it my favorite deck in the world? No. It's not my favorite. It's not my favorite aesthetically. This one is different. Is it the best looking deck? No. But this I know it like the back of my hand, and I can truly help people when I read with this one. This one is an excellent divinatory tool. And I will always have it, especially because, guys, this cardstock, it's really, really good. Just saying. I don't even know how many readings I've done with this, and it looks amazing. Is this my soul deck? I love this card. Maybe. But I'm still getting to know it. I feel like it's an important relationship in my life, and I'm willing to get out of my own way to be able to read it. So that's what I do. I get out of my own way and I just let it speak to me. And because it has a traditional symbolism, and that's what it is. For me, a soul deck is one that calls to something ancient inside of me. But it's still a myth, and it's still not true what I said. Because what I'm trying to say here is I could tell you all kinds of reasons why a deck is my soul deck. I could say that my Animal Wise Tarot is my soul deck. Because, well, when I read with it, it touches me deeply. It gets to the heart of the matter. When I read the guidebook and I read Ted Andrews' words, they're very meaningful to me. And like I said, they do affect me. Like the readings I get from it affect me. It's not my soul deck. It's a combination of images, words, the energy of the creator, the energy of the spirits that come through that deck, and me, willing to work together. The deck is inconsequential. There's no such thing as a soul deck. Stop throwing your money away. Look at what you have. It's probably one of the first decks you ever purchased. The first one that you read the guidebook through, the first one that you started to learn how to read, is most likely, I wouldn't call it a soul deck, but I would say that that's your deck. Even if it's no longer your favorite, the deck that taught you how to read is an old friend. That's the one you keep. Stop chasing for something that doesn't exist. And I'm saying this to myself as I'm saying it to you as well. I've stopped chasing something that doesn't exist, because when I'm sitting alone in front of my bookshelf, and it's a very emotional experience to go through decks. When you're psychic, they're not just cards in a box. When you're psychic, you have a different relationship with the tools you use for divination. Some of these come to you already with their own spirits and personalities in them. Sometimes they are vacant until you pick them up, and then they become housed by the spirits that communicate to you through them. To go through, and then there's, if you're someone who's using them a lot, you're using, if you're just collecting them, this will not speak to you, I don't think. But if you're someone who reads, you read for yourself, you read for the public, reading cards is part of your lifestyle, part of your day-to-day. Having to go through all the decks that were on my shelf, I'm going through them one by one. I'm not done yet. I'm not done yet because I'm having to evaluate so many things. Why did I obtain this deck? Was this in the search of the elusive soul deck, the mythical soul deck? Was it FOMO? Did I get this deck because my fantasy self would own this deck that I've never touched? Not even done one reading, still in order. Maybe got shuffled once. Maybe I did a walkthrough on my channel. My God. And then, so if they fall under the category of the the search for the mythical soul deck, FOMO, fantasy self, then the next, once you figured that out, or once I figured that out, and suppose I figured out it was FOMO, then I have to look through this deck, and these images, whatever sensation I get from it, and then I have to accept that if I've used the deck, like an old favorite was Tarot of the She. I let go of my Tarot of the She because we had done what we had to do together, and it didn't speak to me anymore. I looked at the images and they meant nothing. It had gone silent. When you're psychic, these things happen with the tools that you use that are transient, that are temporary. This has never gone silent for me. I always go back to this when whatever I'm currently using goes silent. So I'll give the example of Tarot of the She. Tarot of the She has gone silent. So I had to sit with these feelings of, this is a relationship that's over. And I had to sit with all the types of readings I used to do with that deck and how much I learned from it. The readings I did for other people, because I did some, not many, some with Tarot of the She. But the spirits were gone from the deck. The deck was quiet now. It went silent. I look at it and it means nothing. And again, I can't stress this enough. If you're a collector, this does not apply to you. If you are one of those people who do not consider, you're not psychic, but you're into tarot cards, this does not apply to you. This whole video really applies. Well, this part of the video, like the whole soul deck is a total myth, and I stand by that 100%. But what I'm saying about the reasons that I accumulated decks and the process of letting them go is a spiritual process. Because these are all voices. So, like I said, Tarot of the She, the spirits are gone. They were here for a time. They taught me what they had to teach me. And now the phone's gone dead. The line's gone dead. Do I hang on to them for sentimental value? Well, no. They're just pieces of paper. Pass them on to someone else who will find them at that time in their life when they need them. And that's why I'm a big proponent of just passing it on. Another deck that surprised me, that I've also let go, is Druidcraft. Druidcraft, from the moment I got it in 2018, the summer of 2018, as part of Birthday Loot, was the voice of my mom. But now, it's not. Now it's just pieces of cardboard. The spirit's gone. The line's gone dead. It's got to go. Do I still have spirit contact with my mom? Of course. It's just a tool. I got an upgrade. Or rather, my mom got my mom went for an upgrade of what she prefers to communicate through. But these are feelings you have to sit through. It's not just a question of purging your decks and then going out and, shopping for more. This is a different process, because I've done that too. It's like, oh my God, I've been reading forever, people. Of course, I've gone through the purging what I had and going out and getting new. And sometimes 5 years later, I had, getting decks I had purged 5 years previous, to revisit them and all this stuff. It's like, whatever. This is about a different phase. This is about oversaturation, the effect of oversaturation, the realization of the myth of the soul deck, that FOMO and fantasy self, and one more, I forgot. I think I mentioned in a previous video that I've been reading forever. Like I've been reading tarot since the 80s, and only decided in 2017 that I had submitted my manuscript for my book, and then I thought, what am I going to do? Oh, you know what would be fun? To finally learn the meanings of the cards from a book. Because instead of understanding who I am, I'm a psychic and I use tarot cards, and as long as they are traditional symbolism, they sing to me. I bought into the whole bullshit that I needed to read a book or a dozen books to teach me how to read tarot cards. And that the right tarot deck was going to teach me how to read better. Because I felt insecure about the fact that when I would lay the cards out on the table, 30-something years, I have and people have reported to me that I do have quite a high accuracy rate. with getting right to the heart of the matter of what it is they want their reading about. And I don't take credit for that whatsoever. The only thing I take credit for is that I get out of the way. Right? I, consciously, my ego, I set it aside. That's what I worked on. So that I take credit for, that I get the hell out of the way and let Spirit come through and give the message. But I bought into, oh, maybe the right book, the right tarot book will fill that gap. Because I'm feeling insecure because I don't know what this card means in the book. I know what it means when it comes up in a reading. Oh my God. It doesn't match a lot of the books I read when this comes up in a reading. Just so you know. I have a series I need to pick up again, which is the experiential meanings of the cards. So, that's where I'm at with all this. When I'm done, my process, I might do a video. I'm not sure. I might do a video of what remained. Again, I'm trying to be really conscious of influencing with what I say. Influencing people with what I say. But at the same time, I'm finding that watching other people's content is not influencing me as much as inspiring me to keep on this path. Lately, there's some really good content out there that's being brought to my attention of other people being a little more candid, or a lot more candid, about why a deck doesn't work for them. No such thing. So let's do a little recap, like when I'm teaching, right? First I'm going to tell you what I'm going to tell you, then I tell you what then I tell you, and then I tell you what I told you. So let's do a little recap. Soul deck is a myth. It's bullshit. Because what's your soul deck now is not your soul deck in the future, was not your soul deck in the past. So and if there is such a thing as a soul deck, like the deck that, it's the deck that formed you as a reader. It's the deck that the spirits came through and taught you to be a reader. Second, FOMO. FOMO is universal, and we have to start discerning. I know for myself, I am really, really working at discerning. What's this feeling? Is it FOMO? Am I ordering this thing, whether it's a deck, a book, a piece of jewelry, it doesn't matter, a notebook. Am I ordering this thing off of Etsy because it says only one remaining? Guess what I learned not too long ago? The seller, I bought a deck out of FOMO. Full disclosure, it was 100% FOMO. It was after a vodka martini. It was in the evening. It was after a really hard day, and there it was. I went on to Etsy, and there it was, only one remaining. Well, let me tell you, right after I received mine, another one went up on Etsy. Same seller, same deck. Don't get sucked in, people. Actually, that one actually soured me for that deck. So that deck went straight into the giveaway box. Because this is a process I'm going through, and it soured me on the creator. I will not even mention what deck it is. I don't even want to give them any kind of good, like, you know. I'm one of those people. I will buy something whether I see a good review, whether it's a positive review or a negative review, as long as the review is honest and comprehensive, and I can figure out if it would work for me. This creator, aside from the taking advantage of the currency difference, where there was a little bit of a rip-off situation there, and the fact that putting it up there and just putting one at a time, so that when you go there it says last one, to create FOMO, That opened my eyes. I don't blame the seller. Everybody needs to live. Everybody needs to eat. But I blame myself for getting sucked in by FOMO. The other one is fantasy self. Kiminga am I buying? I bought decks because of who I thought these decks were going to make me. Like, is that even English? It makes more sense in Italian. I'm sorry, let me start again. I bought decks for my fantasy self. I don't like busy decks. I don't like busy artwork. I know what I like when I'm not being influenced by FOMO and fantasy self bullshit. So I moved out a whole bunch of decks that I bought for somebody else because it certainly isn't me. When I look at them and I say, I don't even like these images. Why? Because an example would be modern decks. My fantasy self, it's because I was feeling like, oh my God, I'm like a freaking dinosaur. What am I going to do? It's like, oh, maybe I should get some modern decks so that I'm not such a dinosaur that I'm still using this guy decades later to read for people. That I'm still, that for me, that this is my number one go-to. It's like, oh, you know what? I got to get with the times. I get something more modern. Yeah, all those modern decks, they're gone. They're in a box, or they've already been rehomed. That's an example of fantasy self. That is not who I am. I do not connect. For me, modern imagery is way too limiting. Way too limiting. So there's that. There's the fantasy self. So I covered the soul deck, the FOMO, the fantasy deck, and the decks that I thought would make me a better reader because the guidebook spelled everything out. You know which ones I mean, right? Where the guidebook is incredible. Even I've said this. Oh my God, sometimes I just cringe at I cringe at myself, people. I cringe at myself. I've even said it where, oh my gosh, this guidebook is incredible because it takes the card and it breaks it down by concern, health, career, relationships, whatever, right? I thought that's the example of, oh, this kind of deck with this kind of guidebook is going to teach me to be a better reader. No. The only thing you need to do to be a better reader is to practice, is to constantly be reading, to constantly spend time with these cards, to look at the images, and whenever you look at them, to find something new. That makes you a better reader. When you're sitting in front of a querent, the querent's in front of you, and you put the cards down and you look down, and the books all say one thing, but you feel that message coming through, and it's completely not the book meaning. It's either literally what the pictures are indicating, if it's one of those decks that have scenes like the Rider-Waite, or if it's just spirit coming through you, having something to say to the querent that has nothing to do with you. So I think I've gone as far as I wanted to go with this today, with this video. I told you I was going to tell you. I told you. Then I told you what I told you. And now I'm told you again. I think of that. So I think my next video, like I said, I have a lot of things I want to talk about, but my time is limited. So this is going to probably be it for today. But I think in my next video I want to explore another aspect of reading. That's the one. I have another, I don't know if it's a myth to dispel or if it's me just sharing my experience and how when I read for people and how it differs from a lot of what I hear out there. A lot. So there's a little teaser that I've told you nothing about. All right. Thank you so much. If you're still here with me, oh my goodness, thank you so much. I appreciate all of you. Those of you who watch my videos, whether you comment or not, I appreciate your comments. I appreciate your private messages. I appreciate your VRs. I appreciate if you are just quietly and anonymously watching. I appreciate all of you. And those of you that are hitting the thumbs down, I appreciate you too. Thank you so much, and I'm wishing you all a beautiful day. Bye-bye.